Hello everyone, my name is David. Let's start today's lesson.
You said the moon was ours.
In our Dongmi course, Level 6, Unit 1, we read a story about lying. In The Boy Who Cried Wolf, a young boy amuses himself by lying to villagers about a wolf attacking his sheep. At first, the villagers trust the boy, but after they see he is lying, they begin to ignore him. When a wolf finally does show up, the villagers don't believe it, and the wolf eats many of the villagers' sheep. The moral of the story is that lying can have serious consequences, but it seems that few of us have taken that moral to heart. Everybody lies. In fact, according to some statistics, most people lie around 2 times a day. Considering how much we do it, though, is lying really that bad?
I got a stone where my heart should be.
This lesson has 2 parts. In part 1, we will examine why people tell lies. Then, in part 2, we will delve into the impact of lying. So, let's get started! Before we consider why people lie, let's refresh our memory on what a lie actually is. A lie is an intentionally false statement. When we lie, we are telling people information that is not true and that we know is not true. People may lie for many different reasons, but it's always to deceive or mislead someone into thinking certain information is true. For example, imagine a high school student is at KTV with his friends on a school night. When his parents text him to ask where he is, he lies and says, "I'm at the library." Or, for example, a girl has just bought an unflattering orange dress and asks for her boyfriend's opinion on it. Even though the dress makes her look like a pumpkin in heels, she's very excited about it. So he smiles politely and says, "It looks absolutely gorgeous." A liar always knows that they're lying. If someone tells a lie but honestly believes that it's true, they aren't really lying in the traditional sense and may have a more serious psychological condition. Given our capacity for lying, some scientists have been working to understand how our brains function when we distort the truth. Let's take a look at lying from a neurological perspective. To study lying in a laboratory setting, scientists often create different situations that invite participants to lie. One example is asking someone to take an item, hide it, and then lie about taking it to another participant. Scientists then use a technique called fMRI, or brain scanning, to locate and examine the different regions of the brain that are active when participants lie and tell the truth. Multiple fMRI studies have revealed that lying is heavily associated with an area of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. This area is a collection of regions responsible for important cognitive functions like planning, problem solving, and memory. It seems to suggest that when we lie, our brains go through a complex process of organizing logic and imagining experiences to support our lies. When we're dishonest, our brains work harder than when we are telling the truth, and this effort is reflected by an increase in brain activity. That's why it takes people longer to respond when lying. fMRIs have also revealed that our brains are able to adapt to lying quickly. One study found that people who lied initially showed an increase of activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for emotional responses. But the more participants lied, the activity lessened. So it seems like, with a little practice, people feel less guilty about being dishonest. This could possibly result in a vicious cycle. The more we lie, the less it bothers us, and the less it bothers us, the more we do it. But not all lies are equally severe. According to research from the University of Oakland, people often stretch the truth for three main reasons, which are self-protection, self-promotion, and helping or hurting others. Let's examine these reasons in detail. One of the common reasons we lie is to protect ourselves. For example, it's probably very easy to imagine a naughty child accidentally breaking her mom's bottle of perfume and then blaming her brother. Even as adults, it seems as if many people have trouble accepting responsibility for their bad behavior. People use lies to protect themselves in different ways. Some may lie to cover mistakes or behavior that casts them in a negative light. An example of this is making up excuses for being late. Many companies have strict requirements for when an employee should arrive at work. A late employee may make up an excuse about traffic or subway delays when really they just slept in. If it looks like being late wasn't their fault, it can help them avoid getting into trouble or leaving a bad impression on their boss. We may also lie to protect ourselves when we reject an invitation to spend time with someone. For example, if an acquaintance we don't like invites us out to drinks, we may say that we're not feeling well as a way of declining their offer. It is common for people to make up excuses when canceling plans so they don't seem mean or disinterested. We can also see examples of lying for self-protection in the natural world. While animals don't lie to reject each other's plans, they have been known to use deception to survive. Biologists have observed that oftentimes weaker species rely on tricks and deception to avoid larger predatory species. For example, the cuttlefish can mimic other animals by adjusting its body type and changing its colors. In addition to avoiding unwanted situations and people, we may stretch the truth to promote ourselves or gain some kind of personal benefit. For example, in order to sell products, many companies use false or misleading advertising in their products' benefits. A cookie brand may include the words "all natural" on their boxes, when in fact their cookies are treated with many additives. Another form of self-promotion is lying about your accomplishments, usually by taking credit for other people's work. This can be quite common in offices. For example, a manager uses one of his employees' ideas in a meeting with his boss to leave a good impression, but he doesn't mention that his employee came up with it. Or an employee eager for a promotion may claim to have done most of the work on a recent project, but diminishing the contribution of other team members. People don't always lie for themselves, though. They may also lie to affect other people, either to protect their feelings or hurt them. We may tell small lies when we want to spare someone's feelings or concerns. For example, someone who's going through a bad breakup may not tell their parents because they don't want their parents to worry. Instead, they say their lives are going well, even though they are quietly suffering. Or if our partner is putting on weight and they ask us if we think they've gotten fatter, we may tell them they haven't. Even if they have put on a little weight, it may not be worth it to make them feel more self-conscious than they already do. Sometimes these small lies are known as white lies. But white lies aren't always done to protect other people's feelings. Sometimes white lies can just be unimportant lies that we tell for self-protection or self-promotion. The difference between a white lie and a regular lie is that a white lie doesn't have a serious effect on another person. For example, if our partner asks us whether we've cleaned the house, we may tell them we have, even if we haven't, because we intend to do it later that day. Or if your mom asks you whether you have eaten lunch or dinner over the phone, you may lie and say that you had. Other times, though, people lie to hurt others. For example, if two employees are competing for a promotion, one employee may spread rumors about the other's performance to hurt their chances. Or in a high school, one student may bully a less popular student by gossiping about him or her. Or consider politics. During an election, politicians may spread misleading information about their opponents to hurt their chances. They may distort their opponents' policy beliefs, or even create nasty rumors about their character. Now that we've discussed the motivations behind lying, we're going to talk about the impact of lying, as well as how it is viewed in society. The Western world largely disapproves of lying, at least in theory. The philosopher St. Augustine claimed that every lie is a sin, while the Catholic Church has called lying the work of the devil. As we say in English, a person is only as good as their word. When we lie, we become two-faced, secretive, and untrustworthy. Even though we have said that there are different degrees of lies, some people believe that all lying is wrong, no matter what. The German philosopher Immanuel Kant famously claimed that lying is never acceptable, even if a lie protected someone from being murdered. Kant's attitude may be referred to as moral absolutism. This means moral standards that do not change depending on the situation. Moral absolutism sees morality as simply black and white, with no shades of gray. Such a strict perspective on lies makes sense when we consider the impact of harmful lies. Spreading negative rumors about someone can destroy their reputation, make them miserable, or worse. There have been cases when teenagers, after being the target of rumors and cyberbullying, have committed suicide. There is no excuse for lies meant to damage someone else. And even if a lie is not intended to hurt someone, it may still harm them in a more abstract way. For example, when someone chooses to break off a relationship, they may lie about the reasons as to avoid hurting the other person's feelings. They may say, "It's not you, it's me," when in fact, their partner's behavior did contribute to the breakup. But by not telling their partner may go into another relationship with the same behavior and not grow as a person. Or we can look back to the story of the boy who cried wolf from our Dongni course. The villagers could have come to the boy's rescue, but the boy had eroded their trust with too many lies. When we are dishonest, it undermines our relationships with other people. If they aren't sure if they can trust us, we will never have their confidence. However, not everyone views lying as a moral failing. Challenging the idea of moral absolutism is act utilitarianism. This suggests that lying is morally acceptable when it is the best action to take in a situation and produces the best consequences. Consider this scenario. In World War II, after conquering France, German soldiers went through towns and cities arresting Jewish people and sending them to death camps. Some brave French families hid Jewish families in their homes. Now, if a German soldier had asked one of these French families, "Are there any Jewish people living here?" and the French family denied it, this could be seen as a positive lie. If the French family had told the truth, then the German soldiers would have arrested the Jewish family and possibly the French family too. By lying, though, the family survived. And since it's morally wrong to murder or imprison someone based on their ethnicity or religion, is it not morally right to lie to prevent that? Beyond philosophy, there are some notable benefits of lying too. Let's look at how lying positively impacts our relationships and language. In everyday life, lying can help support social relationships. When we aren't 100% honest with people, we avoid hurting their feelings and, in the process, also show them that we care about them. For example, a friend who has become interested in painting shows us some art that they made and asks our opinion. Now, we may not like their style, but we tell them, "Looks great, keep it up." To be completely honest, we'll just hurt their confidence. Another benefit of lying has been our language. The critic George Steiner has argued that lies and deception have been responsible for the development of human language. Studies have shown that people who lie tend to use longer and more difficult sentence structures to express themselves. To make their lie seem more believable, they may use unnecessary words and facts to convey simple thoughts. For a specific example, let's compare the statements of former U.S. politician John Edwards, who had a child with a woman who wasn't his wife. In his original statement, he denied he was the child's father. He said, "I only know that the apparent father has said publicly that he is the father of the baby. I also have not been engaged in any activity of any description that requested, agreed to, or supported payments of any kind to the woman or to the apparent father of the baby." That's quite a long way of saying, the baby isn't mine. Later on, however, when he admitted the child was his, he said, I am her father. I will do everything I can to provide her with the love and support she deserves. One linguist has claimed that if it were not for lying, our language would not be as complex, and communication would be much simpler. Looking at these examples, it's easy to see why. So whether or not we view it as morally acceptable, deception has done a lot for our species. No matter how we personally feel about lying, it won't be going anywhere soon. In fact, we all may be becoming more deceptive. According to new research, everyone lies about themselves on the internet. It's a trend that is only likely to increase in our digitized world. In the meantime, while we can't avoid lying in some situations, we should not forget to be honest either. As Benjamin Franklin said, honesty is the best policy. Now, let's quickly review what we have discussed today. In today's lesson, we have talked about why people lie and the impacts of lying. In part 1, first we defined what a lie is. A lie is an intentionally false statement. Then we took a close look into our brain to see how it functions when we distort the truth. After that, we examined different reasons behind lying, including self-protection, self-promotion, and to help or hurt others. In the second part, we mainly discussed the impact of lying, as well as how it is viewed in society. For example, moral absolutism believes that all lying is wrong, no matter what, while act utilitarianism suggests that lying is morally acceptable when it is the best action to take in a situation. Besides, lying can also have positive influences on our society. It can support social relationships and help to develop human language. And that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.
Was I to hell with the day?